Hello and welcome. We're going to talk about how to grow bell peppers in containers. So let's get started. To begin with, you're going to need a container that is about 10 inches in diameter. Now this is a square one, but you get the idea. It needs to be wide, about 10 to 12 inches across and about 10 inches now, just deep. Like yourself, you need to make sure you have all the nutrients that you need, and you need to be in the right setting. And for your containers, you need to have potting mix. So make sure you get you a nice potting mix. And I also like to add some compost. And compost will help improve the nutrients availability to your plants. It encourages deeper root growing in your containers and improves drought tolerance. And it's just builds up your soil for your plants. The fertilizer that I use is what I call an all-purpose fertilizer. The NPK numbers are 463, and that'll get the plants off to a good start, and also when you're planting by seeds, which is what I'm going to show you how to do today. Now let me talk a little bit more about the container. Bell peppers are easy to grow. Bell peppers are nice to grow in your garden, but they can be susceptible to different types of diseases. So if you're not going to use a new container, you should wash out and sanitize the one that you have that you're using, maybe an older one, and you just sanitize. There's different ways you can sanitize it. You can use 4 parts water to 1 part vinegar, and just make sure you rinse it out real good afterwards. There's different ways to do it. And make sure you use fresh potting mix. Now normally I don't always talk about using fresh potting mix, but because the bell peppers can be, like I said, more disease prone than some of the other things that you grow, you may want to try to use, or you should really use, a fresh bag of potting mix. Now your containers, they need to have drain holes in them. Now I use grow bags too. I have some black grow bags I like to use, but for bell peppers, you may want to stay away from the black ones because it can make it, it impacts the roots negatively on the bell peppers, and they like a lighter material, lighter colored container. I found mix and your compost, I'm using like a 30-70% mixture. So I'm going to do 70% potting mix and then 30% compost, and I mix it all up together. And then I throw in my fertilizer and mix that up in there too. Now bell peppers, they are a warm weather plant, and they do best if you're planting outdoors when the weather has warmed and it's around 75-degree temperatures. And they grow better in warm temperatures, except for if it gets above like 90 degrees, it can cause the blossoms on your bell peppers to drop off. But generally, they like warm weather. If you have a pretty small space, you may want to consider some of the smaller varieties of bell peppers. There's something called a mini bell blend, and they give you very small peppers on there, about 1 to 2 inches in size. There's a sweet chocolate bell, which is actually yellow in hue, and they're about medium size. So if you're worried about, you don't want big monstrous bell peppers because maybe you don't have the space for it, you may want to go for the smaller size. Now the growing season. Now some of these bell peppers, starting from seed, can go 90 days before maturity, and you may not have 90 days because you're starting later in the summer, or you're just in an area that has a short growing season. But you don't have to despair. There are some bell peppers, that take a shorter growing season. For example, the mini bell that I mentioned only takes about 60 days to maturity. There's something called an early sensation hybrid that's also taken around that same amount of time. And then you have a larger bell pepper called the gourmet, and that takes about 58 to 60 days. So, if you look, when you're looking at your bell peppers, check the back of them to see how many days to maturity. And if you're concerned about the size, stick to the ones that are smaller in size for your containers. Now bell peppers are heavy feeders. So even though we're putting some fertilizer in there to start them off with, you can switch to a liquid fertilizer and fertilize them every 2 weeks, once a month. Read the directions on the fertilizer that you're using. You can also do a side dressing of granular fertilizer, like the one you started out with, about once a month, and water that in. And the sun at least 6 hours. The more hours of sun, the better your production is going to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fill up my container with some potting mix and some soil, and I'm doing the California Wonder bell pepper. So what I do is I put 1/3 potting mix in, 1/3 compost, and the rest of the third with potting mix, and then I mix it up, and I throw in about a handful of my fertilizer. I give it a couple of quick pat downs to get rid of that air pocket. Now I'm putting in the compost. See how deep and rich that is? Now here's my handful of fertilizer. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. So these are my California Wonder. Now according to the package, I plant these 1/4 inch deep, but what I do is I'll just put them and lay them on top of the pre-moistened soil. And just sprinkle some soil on it. I think that's easier than trying to measure a 1/4 inch deep hole, because measuring a 1/4 inch deep hole, I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to take time to get a ruler out and do all that. So I just sprinkle some soil on top that I think might be enough. And now water it in. Now, according to my package, it should take about 7 to 10 days to germinate. Now, these are some that I planted several weeks ago. I just planted a few because my bunny rabbit, not my bunny rabbit, but it stays around here enough that it ate up 2 of my seedlings. Now, I didn't have one survive, but I decided I want to plant a couple more. This is the one that the rabbit didn't touch. I had started this indoors, and this is how big it's gotten. And I put this outside in May. So that was really easy. I mean, it's simple. You can do it. All you gotta do is just get a few items, and you're off to the races with your bell peppers. Just picking the right variety that you want to grow. Now, there's another video coming up right behind this one, so click on that one. Wishing everyone a happy gardening experience.